Hello and welcome to another AGD tutorial. I hope you are all enjoying 2018 and that you're looking forward to some more Spectrum releases over the next 12 months. I know that I am. Right, well, what have I been up to? I haven't done many videos, I apologize for that. As some of you may have seen, I've been working on my Joust clone. Actually started about probably more than 6 months ago, but then I started Terrapins, got a little bit distracted, you know how it is. But it's very nearly finished, and hopefully it will be within the next week or so. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing, specky-wise anyway. And obviously now we're looking at this new version of AGDX. As you can see here, we've got Arcade Designer X up here. And what you should probably notice is that it is 4.7.2, so we've made an addition. It's not a big addition, but it's a very, very useful one. And before I start, I really want to say a huge thank you to David Saphier for helping me with this. It was an idea I had that I thought would be useful, and he's been good enough to look at the source and help me to implement it properly. And as you can see here, this is what it is right here. As you can see, when you look at a sprite, it tells you where that sprite is stored in memory, that particular image. So what's so useful about that? Well, first of all, obviously you can back it up really easily, the image, and load it into another copy. So you can copy from one version to another very simply and easily. And as you can see here, as I'm showing you, if you add more frames, if you add more sprites, then it will show you that particular frame and where it's stored. So I put a frame in there, and as you can see, it will tell you exactly where it is stored. And later in this video, I'll show you an example of how we can use that to import some data. Obviously, we can use a tap file, but sometimes this is a little bit quicker. As you can see, also works with objects. So where the image data is stored, we're talking about pixel data here. Pure and simple. It's just binary files, and as you can see, also works with blocks. So the big thing here really for this, at least from my point of view, and hopefully from your point of view as well, is that you can now work on your graphics externally using something like ZX Paintbrush or another package. Then you can basically export the file to binary. So let's move over to ZX Paintbrush, which is the one that I use because it has that binary export option, which is so useful for working in AGD. As you can see here, I've got a screen. I'm sure some of you can recognize this as the start screen from the fantastic game Rex. I'm just using this as a demo, just to show you how we can take a little part of the screen here. I'm going to look at taking this section and copy it into AGD. So what we do up here, we select this one here, which is allows you to pick blocks of 8 by 8, and I'm going to try and take this little bit over here. Alright, so I'm going to draw and just highlight the bit that I want there. This part here is actually duplicated, so we just need this section. Obviously I'm going to end up picking up some of those blank blocks there as well, but that's okay, we'll delete them once we do it. So here we go to export the file, and we go down and choose binary. As you can see, I've already done it once as a test run. Save it off, and here we should choose first of all block pixels 8 by 8 because we're importing blocks, and we don't need any attributes here because it's just going to be pixel data. We'll add the colors in manually because it won't take very long. And yeah, and it should be block-based output over there, and so yeah, we just press OK. Now let's just look at how quickly and easily we can now import this data into AGD. So I'm back into AGD now here. I'm going to go to the block data, and the first thing I'm going to do is create some empty blocks like this, obviously to reserve the memory space for the blocks. Doesn't really matter how many, because you can load it in where you want, but as you can see here, it tells me where each block starts. And so if I want to load this data into any particular position, I can do so. So let's load it into block 1. and I'll go to load binary data, just like that. I'll go to Rex blocks bin here and just type the number 37730. Press OK, and if I now browse, you'll see that the blocks there have actually loaded in, and you can see there are some blank blocks there which we did anticipate, and so I'll just get rid of those because obviously we can use block 0 for that, and so the only thing we need is the ones with the pixel data. So I'll delete that, and the next thing I'll do then is go back and put the colors in. So yeah, we'll just this one was cyan, this one was green, I think this one was also green, and this one I think was yellow, and these were also yellow. So as you can see, within a matter of only a minute really, I've managed to take the data from ZX Paint straight into AGD, and I can then just go ahead on a screen here, just a sample. I can just go ahead and draw it in, just like that. So yeah, I can even make a small change if I want. I think that platform was actually level with the other yellow ones, but as you can see, you can customize it as well, obviously. So yeah, that's it. That's how you import. That's how you import blocks. It's that simple. You could draw whole images, do exactly what you want, and basically import it straight into AGD flawlessly, very, very quickly, very, very practically. Much easier than the previous method that I showed you, where you had to look up the numbers and everything else. We've basically used the editor itself to do that. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how we can do exactly the same thing, but with a 16 by 16 image. So as you can see here, we don't really need to play Guess the Game. You can see that this is Attic Attack, and I'm going to try and import that little image over there. If I look at it without the attributes, I can see that it is a 16 by 16 image. So same principle again. I could actually choose from the options here. I could choose 16 actually, but I'll just do it by 8 by 8 as I did before. Keeps it straightforward. Could have used a 16 though. There is an option there to do it. So highlight that, and in this case now I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Go to binary, and I'll save this off. We'll just give it a name there. Save it off, and all we need to do is change it here to 16 by 16, because obviously objects are 16 by 16 rather than 8 by 8, so that we need to get the byte order correct, and the byte order will be correct if we do that. Obviously we're not loading in colors here because objects don't have colors, and so it's just pure pixel data one more time. Right, so back into AGD, and let's go into the object menu. As you can see here, we've got object 0, and it's telling me where the pixel data is stored. It starts at 38073, and all I have to do, load the data in, type in the number 38073, and exit, and come back in, and there it is. So it's really that simple. Very, very easy. Just you can now, of course, develop your objects, and if I want to, of course, I could use M to copy here, and I can copy that from the object into a sprite. That would be an easy way to do it. But let's go over to the Sprite Editor and show you that you can do exactly the same thing for a sprite. So if we take a look at the sprite here, what I'll do is I'll insert a frame, and then I'll look at loading this in. So let's say we load that in there, and we just type the same number here, 36954, like that, and I press F to go back and back again, and as you can see, it's loaded in flawlessly as well. Obviously what you can do here, if you want to back up an image like that, it's exactly the same thing. You just do it in reverse. You go to File, you save the binary data from the memory point, and you save the number of bytes for a block, or for a sprite or an object. That would be 32. For a single block, that would be 8, or 8 times the number of blocks that that you're saving. I should also probably mention, while I remember, that This will work for individual sprite images and individual objects. If you want to load in a whole set of sprites, there is a way that you could do that, and the same applies to objects, but you'd have to set the screen up in such a way to take into account the memory positions and so on. So I may well make a video about that as well if there's interest. If you want to see that, then let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to accommodate that. I'll be making this new version of AGDX available on the Facebook page, and I'll also upload it to my itch account, and I'll put a link in the description for you to access that. Please remember to like and subscribe if you found the video useful. It does encourage me to do more. I do have plenty more in the pipeline, and some of the interesting things that have been discussed on the Facebook page about sprite patterns and large blocks and different things like that, that's all going to be coming up hopefully fairly soon. So all that remains is for me to say thanks once again to David for the excellent help, and for you guys, keep enjoying AGD, keep enjoying the Spectrum, and as always, happy coding. Bye bye.